Now we're right in the beautiful Temple Carrig school, but this is fantastic. Do you know how long they've had this here for? It looks relatively new, but then it's worn a little bit.
I think they built it about 2 years ago. They put on a Midsummer Night's Dream here. The school did,
there you go.
And I think the school themselves were very involved in preparing the site. So.
We should mention, fantastic idea, and I missed that. I missed unfortunately the previous performance, Midsummer Night's Dream, but this I'm not going to miss. This is Macbeth.
Macbeth, yeah, that's right.
It's
yes.
Going to be. I know we just spoke before the cameras rolled. It's a kind of it's obviously you know what you're doing. It's a kind of a warm up though for Stratford upon Avon, which is.
That's right. We were invited by the Royal Shakespeare Company to put on our production of Macbeth in Stratford upon Avon next weekend. They run a festival there every summer. They have an open air theatre, and they invite groups from all over the world to partake. And luckily, we were invited over. So over the summer, we've been preparing this show, and then Alan kindly invited us to come up here and perform it for the good people of Greystones. So to get a chance at running the show outdoors before we bring it to Stratford was just too good an opportunity to turn down.
Is this the Scottish play?
It is the Scottish play.
Do you
yes.
actually still believe in the old?
Only if you're, I believe, in a theatre while a show is going on. So I think we're okay. I think we're okay outdoors here for the moment.
I know. I think it's about 1606 is the first recorded performance of Macbeth, and it has been through so many productions. I know when it comes for a director like yourself to take it on, whether that's both a blessing and a curse, because you know that it's very, very familiar, very, very kind of explored. I don't know when you're approaching it, whether you think, well, I'm going to go with the classic reading, or I'm going to mess a little bit with it, or.
Well, I think the beauty of Shakespeare is it's so open to interpretation, and over the many years, there have been very, very different performances. Shakespeare plays have no stage directions.
Right.
All they have is scene 1, scene 2. So you have that opportunity then to put your own stamp on it and see what you see. So our group are quite organic now. They're a young group. They're aged 12 to 18. But on day one of rehearsals, I have a blank piece of paper.
Right.
And I say, now, how do you feel? We read the script. How do you feel? What's going on? What parts of this story speak to you? And then we build from there. And then as the director, then obviously I have the final say, but I like to include my actors as much as possible in how the story's going. So there was certain elements of it that perhaps being a young group that we didn't touch on. There's a lot of quite adult themes going on, so I might have just slightly diverted away from those a little bit, but many of the other parts of the show we certainly have kept in. It's quite lively, quite visceral, very energetic, and a lot of pace to it. A lot of pace.
Well, there's a great mileage in popular culture when it comes to people putting on Shakespeare. I know in The Goodbye Girl, the director decided he'd have a hump and he'd have all sorts of impediments to sort of overemphasize his character. And I know with Michael Caine and Dylan Moore and the actors, they kind of wanted to play Shakespeare without any consonants. I think they just had to use the words had to be broken without consonants. So it's almost he survives anything because there is this it's just a great piece of music. It'll survive whatever.
I think it is. Shakespeare, they're just great stories. They every play, they've lasted 400 years because of the quality of the stories. And when you come into a group of teenagers and you tell them the story before they even read the words, because the words can get in the way sometimes of the story with Shakespeare. When you tell them the story, the outline of the story, and they go, that's quite exciting. So like a few years ago, we were doing Hamlet, and I told them the story of Hamlet, and one of the kids, but that's the Lion King. I went, exactly, that is the Lion King.
Well,
so
that is the misinterpretation. People just assume that Shakespeare by his very nature must be way up there in the sky in regard to his references, and it's like opera to some people that they just don't think they're going to get it. But, right from the start, this was meant for everybody. This was
It's absolutely
popular,
It
culture.
was for the masses. It
Yeah.
was theatre for the masses. And
He was the Adam Sandler of his time.
he was, and you can see that there's crowd pleasing moments.
Yeah.
We go to the cinema now. That I suppose that would be the nearest cultural reference, and we love our popcorn movies where there's just big bangs, crashes, and he has that. He has the battles. He has the big moments. But he has the tenderness as well.
You've written a car chase into this one, haven't you? I think?
Well, close enough. Now we are quite, in a way, sticking to the kind of traditional kind of swords and sandals kind of idea, but there's definitely a modern edge to it as well, and I think it's just bringing that the set, especially with teenagers, bringing their kind of sense of how they feel about it. A big reference point throughout the summer has been Game of Thrones, that it is the original Game of Thrones, so that the kids got kind of latched onto that, and they could see the reference, the power struggles, the prophecies, the witchcraft, and then of course great battles, and then the throne itself, who is going to be on that throne, and it's been a lot of fun.
That's the great thing. I think people, it's very much a shorthand for any kind of complex family shenanigans and betrayals and double crosses and tragic love affairs. People just throw, Shakespearean just gets put into just about every kind of situation that is just beyond the norm. That there isn't just one layer to the story. There's another layer, and then there's another layer, and then people feel, oh, that's very Shakespearean, where they just feel that connection straight away that he's. Now I know it's known as Shakespeare's shortest tragedy. I know it's probably still about 7 or 8 hours long, though, isn't it?
It is actually one of his shorter ones.
Right.
I think there's only 2 or 3 of the comedies that are actually shorter.
Okay.
Its full run time is just over 2 hours.
Right.
So if you went to see it in the Royal Shakespeare Company, you'd probably be 2 hours, 20 minutes in the theatre. So that's it. We have it a little shorter. We also don't have an interval. Shakespeare plays were never performed with intervals back in the day. So if you were for Hamlet 4.5 hours, it was 4.5 hours. We're probably running at about 90 minutes, just with the pace and energy we put into it, and a little subtle editing here and there, but nothing that really takes away from the story.
Well, we should say to people that it'll be above this video interview anyway, but it's only €5 in. It's at 7:30 on Tuesday. It's for the Gavin Glynn Foundation.
That's right. We were wondering about. We wanted to do it on one level, free of charge. We want to bring Shakespeare to the people, and we're just an amateur drama school as such. So we're not looking to raise funds with this, but then Alan, the principal here in Temple Carrig, he said you have to make it worthwhile. You have to feel it's that your actors are doing it for something.
Yeah, put value on it when
and that's it. Putting a value on it.
Value on
and then I mean the Gavin Glynn Foundation is such a brilliant charity and an important charity here in the area. So we were delighted to say yes. Let's put a few quid there. So
nicely done. I think it's something now that people will I'm just so looking forward to it, because as I said, I missed the previous performances here, so just the very idea that it exists, I'm excited about it. I know that Alan is keen to kind of do Shakespeare by the Sea.
This is it. We've been talking to Alan now, and it just came about almost through I think things are meant to be. We had talked about putting it on in a one of the county council parks, but the red tape and bureaucracy of that just that was no help to us. And on the same day, and Facebook's a great tool, but a friend of mine who's a sound engineer happened to put up a picture of this site. He had done sound here for something. I was straight onto him. I said, "Where is that amazing venue?" And he said, "Oh, that's Temple Carrig." So we got in touch with Alan, and he said, "I'd love to have you down." So talking to him, he says, "I've wanted to get something going here, so it's almost a trial run. If this goes well, I think Alan would hope to make it an annual thing, and we get groups from the local area, but perhaps go further afield and make it a 3, 4, 5 day festival." And I just think it'd be a wonderful idea. And as we said, like Shakespeare in the Park, Shakespeare outdoors, it's it's done well in so many countries. I mean, London do it. This one we're going to in Stratford has it. There's one in New York. So to have one in Greystones would be just wonderful.
One of the pillars of the world when it comes to popular culture.
Absolutely.
And I think it's important that we are represented. But beautifully done. And as I said, just a great idea. Wonderful place to have a Shakespeare. And good luck.
Thank you very much.